father raised me on his own, in addition to take care of my grandmother. She had cancer. So I spent a lot of time growing up just around the environments that he would be in, which would be, he was a mountain climber, skydiver, scuba diver, so I grew up in that environment. And I guess I got into that, all of that at a fairly young age. So by the time I was in high school, I was going on my own little solo trips and stuff up into the wilderness. My pops, he was a government boy. He wasn't in the military, but he was a government boy. I just grew up around that kind of environment, around those types of people that, you know, were combat or government workers of some kind. And I guess I just kind of figured it'd be something I'd always do. We came in by way of Baghdad International Airport. We came in by C-130, did a combat landing, and it rained, it was cold, but we were in Baghdad. It was the fall, getting into the winter time. We were going on a raid, south side of Baghdad, and we were going after some munitions runner. We were going fast as we can. I was actually moving with the element. So we were going over this bridge in the middle of the night. And right on the other side of the crest of this bridge, I saw something that just didn't look right. And of course, I couldn't really hit the brakes. It was a little narrow bridge. I mean, we were about 4 or 5 stories high. It wouldn't have been good. And it was over railroad tracks, so it wasn't even over water or anything. I don't know if that had been better or worse, but I knew it wasn't an option. So I took my foot off the gas and maneuvered about best I could. Didn't quite have enough time and space, but I did manage to get it offset enough to where it blew up off center instead of directly in the middle where it was meant to blow up at. If that would have happened, it would have killed everybody. Instead, everybody with minor concussions, minor shrapnel. I got most of the damage myself. Yeah, everybody thought I was good because nobody could see anything until I started calling out because I couldn't get out of the Humvee, so I started calling out with any type of information I could think of that might be important, what kind of injuries that I knew about at the very least. They loaded me in a Humvee behind us, and we drove up to the CASH, the combat hospital, and then I made my journey back to the States. When you're that close to death, it can be kind of a tricky thing. Sometimes it would be very easy to not breathe anymore. Actually, that would have been the easiest option. I wasn't about to do that, so I had to keep forcing myself to breathe. Well, I knew once we got to the combat hospital there in the green zone of Baghdad, I knew the odds of survival would go up significantly. Once we got there, I couldn't really see anything. I was about temporarily blind. I could see about a foot in front of my face. That was about it. I got there, they started working on me. I could feel them moving around, hear them. Somebody leaned over, said, "You're gonna be all right." And then I just passed out immediately. I woke up, I could see the far end of the bay I was in, and so I was feeling pretty good about that. Then they took me in for another surgery, put me under anesthesia, and they kept me in a medically induced coma on through Balad, and from Balad on to Landstuhl, Germany, where I came out of the medically induced coma in the middle of the night there, I guess it was. I knew immediately that I was in pretty bad shape. I knew it was more than just some minor shrapnel to my legs. I didn't know quite the extent of the damage done, but I knew they weren't working. Once I could see, then I saw it. I still lived in the hospital for a few months. I still had a lot of surgeries to go through for pretty much the first year. I started getting my prosthetics and everything going towards the end of 2007. But I tell you what, the first time I stood up was exhausting. That was the most tired I ever felt, just standing. So I could only stand up for a couple minutes. I went to college for mechanical engineering for a couple of years. Then my father got very sick, and he passed away. My grandmother was still alive. He was my grandmother's caretaker. I was the only one left that could take care of her, so I had to drop out of college to take care of her for about the last year of her life or so. I think it was about a year, year and a half, and then she passed. Yeah, and then after that, I just ended up moving to Arizona. I was in kind of a bad way mentally, too. I had kind of lost a lot of motivation. I got nothing going on here, so, you know, pack everything in a moving truck and move to Arkansas back in February. So yeah, just kind of trying to get back to living life again, you know? Well, I've never been to Mississippi before in my life. I got to see a lot of the countryside of Mississippi, and it sure is a pretty state, that's for sure. You know, it's kind of, in the moment, it's not, you don't really have enough time to process it in the moment, you know? So much as you just kind of more feel the energy of the crowd, and it was a lot of energy, like it, you know, amped me up. In my mind, it was just kind of a split-second thing. In my mind, I figured, well, you know, I can put my head back down and kind of shuffle my way back off, or I can hold my head up, walk off. I figured, you know, I'd rather go with the second option. I'm just too stubborn to quit, I guess. Doesn't cross my mind, really. Sometimes, sure, it gets exhausting. But I guess I'm just too stubborn and hard-headed to give up. Not a bad way to be, I think. Whatever's trying to keep you down, don't let it win. No. We all go through some hard times, but you can't let it beat you. Just don't let it win, that's all.